Alright, so your first goal for the week is getting some screen capture working and putting a video up. Second goal for the week is starting to look at apps. And the quick and easy one is for anybody, it's designed for anybody, whether they know programming or not, is this MIT App Inventor 2. It only works for Android. So we'll look at that in just a second. First, two notes about Android and iOS. So for Android, if you want your app to show up in the Android market, you'll have to end up signing up for a developer account. There's a one-time fee of $25. They do that to try and prevent spammers from creating multiple accounts. And then there's a process to get your app into the Android market. For iOS, it's a little bit more annoying. The App Store, they want you to pay $100 a year to keep an app in there. There's a university education program that I haven't looked into yet. But first, we're going to look at the App Inventor. And this is going to be a program that we can use just straight from our browser. I'm going to go ahead and log out. If you've used Scratch before, then this is similar to Scratch programming, but for the Android. Let's pause. Okay, here's the link. You just search for App Inventor and you'll find the link. Okay, so we're going to click on the first one, App Inventor. Click on that. This will tell you things about it, but you can go ahead and click Create. It wants me to be logged in. So this is going to be under a Google account. I've already used a Google account on this. I don't think it wants me to log in, so we'll just go ahead and do that. Alright, the first time you do this, you'll see things that are slightly different. Let me make a new project. What do we want this to be? CS 459, 559 demo. Okay, and this should work in any of the modern web browsers. And this is it. So we've got on the left-hand side different things that we can put into our project. So we can put a label in. Here's the label, and then I can control different things about it here. Make it bigger, bold, put different text in there. This is a demo. Okay, I could put an image or whatever here. Let's put in a web viewer. Okay, so this is going to be like an HTML display, but actually let's put that inside of this here. So a horizontal arrangement, I'll make as big as it can be, and I'm showing it. And then the web viewer, why don't we do Google. Okay, so this will just open up a Google page. There's other things you can do here. You can put in, you can use the, you can make a recording, you can take a picture, you can record a sound, so you can use that stuff that's on the phone. And you can click through these. If you click on the question mark, you get a little bit of information. You can click here for more information. Of course, you can search Google for more still. One of the cool things is that you can use the sensors. So in addition to having access to the camera, the camcorder, and the microphone, you also have access to the, you can either use an orientation sensor or an accelerometer to tell which direction the device is pointed and so forth. Files, so let's just say that this is our app for now. Alright, so then what you do is you can build it. And what this will do is it'll create an installation file that you can then put onto your phone to test it, if you have Android. So that should, so this would be it. You would scan this with your phone and it would give you the option to install it, and then it would actually install on your phone, just like a regular app. So rather going through the App Store, you just scan it from here. Alright, so that's one option. Another option is the App Inventor companion, which is nice. What you do is on your phone, you install an app. And the app that you want to install on your phone, just search for App Inventor. And it's the first one here that comes up, MIT AI2 Companion. You see this is already installed on my phone. You install it on your phone, and then this is what you will see when you start it on your phone. Then you click on Scan QR Code, and you would scan this here. And what this does with the AI Companion, it's not actually installing the app permanently, but then it'll run what you currently have. And as you make changes in here, it'll reload the program. Alright, the other option is to run this in an emulator. If you don't have an Android phone, you can run it through an emulator. And so then you can follow these instructions to get an emulator running on your computer. Let's see. On this page that comes up, you can click on the instructions for emulator. On Mac and Windows, you're going to have just the usual easy installation. Okay, so I think this is a typo here. This should say Windows and Mac only. If you got Linux, then we're out of luck. Alright, so you either have Windows or Mac and you can run the emulator, or you have an Android phone and you can use the AI Companion, or you can build it and install it. Alright, and then you would run this and you would see a web browser that would show up here. Okay. So these are the different user interface elements, and you can click through each of these, and it would be a good idea to click on each help icon just to give a basic description of what it is. Whichever one you pick, after you put it in. So let's say that I put in a text box. Okay, after you put it in, then you can rename what the text box is, and this is going to be used like as a variable, and then you can change some of the settings for the display here. Now, where does the code then? So this is the layout, including if you're going to use any of the sensors, you would just drag those over. And that shows up below the display because it's not a visual element. Okay, then the actual code is over here in blocks. So here's the blocks, and these are the programming things you can do. So you want to click each of these to see what's available. And these will be all the normal things that you can do in programming. You can make variables. So if I want to make a new variable, I can do that. And if I want to, you can have text variables or integer variables, either way, and then you can do different things to the programming elements you had here. So if you want to do something based off the orientation sensor, you can say whenever it is changed, then maybe I want to display in the label, set the text to orientation sensor, and then maybe I'll put in just the orientation sensor has 3 different azimuth is, and then you can put the azimuth in. Okay, and you can get it just from, this is kind of like a, these are like internal variables within this is like a function, or you could, instead of getting it like that, you could click on the orientation sensor and say orientation sensor dot azimuth. Alright, so you want to click through and see what each one of these can do. If we look, I have another project here, so I'll save that. I'll go over to this other one. So here's a screen where it'll just display the roll, the pitch, and the azimuth. If I look over in the blocks, whenever the orientation sensor is changed, these text items. So this text item is called, let's see, there's a text item actually next to that. If you click on it, current roll, there's nothing in it right now. I just dragged it over, nothing there. There's one next to the pitch also, and there's one next to the azimuth. So each one of those, when the orientation sensor changes, I just put in the current pitch, azimuth, and roll. And then I have some logic here that when, let's see, which one is it? The roll. Okay, so when the roll is close to 0, that indicates that the device is close to level. So there's logic here that when the orientation sensor is updated, I'm checking to see if it's close to level. If it's close to level, then I make a little sound, flash the screen to be green, and vibrate. So here's the vibrate, here's the sound, and here's the background, but I don't want that to just keep happening if I have the device being level. I just want it to happen once to tell them that it became level. So this, I have a variable here, do vibe, which just says, am I waiting to get the device to be level? So initially that's true, I'm waiting for it to become level. If it becomes level, then I'm not waiting for it to be level anymore. But if it becomes unlevel, so this test here says, did it become unlevel? The roll got to be greater than 10. And I can play with this. If the roll is bigger than 10 or less than minus 10, so that's an angle of the phone, then I'm waiting to become level again, and switch the background back to be white to say that I'm not level. And then if I'm waiting to become level and I notice that my angle is less than 1, greater than minus 1, that's in degrees, then I do that. So this was just my first test program, just to play with the orientation sensor. I made another one that is on another screen. You can only have one screen open at a time. Another one called height. And I won't go into the details of that right now. Alright, so what you want to do is just think of something that you would like to do, very simple, either with a display or with a web or with the orientation sensor, and just play around. And that'll be it for this intro video.